welcome to On the Go with AAUW, the American Association of University Women. I'm your host, Jennifer DeSanto, the Executive Director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at George Mason University. And today on the show, we will be discussing the Fall for the Book Festival at George Mason University with our guests, Kara Oakleaf, the Festival Director, and Susie Rigdon, the Festival Manager. Hi, Kara. Hi, Susie. Thanks so much for being on the show again.
Thank you for having us.
It's always fun.
Nice to be back.
It's always a good time to talk about the festival. You guys do so much for the community. We bring in authors from all around the country, all around the world even. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about your background, how you got involved in the festival, and what you think, what the goals are for the festival?
Sure. I feel like my involvement in the festival began before I worked for it, when I was a student at George Mason, and loved going to see the different authors that were coming in. I began working for the festival after I left graduate school, and I've been there ever since.
So it's a passion that you've kept going?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely,
and now you're
yes.
a teacher at George Mason University.
Yes. Both Susie and I split our time between managing the festival and teaching in the English department as well. So.
Wonderful.
And my story is fairly similar. I started with the festival before I started as a student in the graduate program at Mason the summer before, and I've been with them through that whole thing, and then after graduating and starting to teach at Mason, and I'm still with them. So it's really exciting because with every year I learn more about the literary world and all of these authors and the community of Fairfax and George Mason, and I've just really enjoyed trying to create some really dynamic panels with, as you said, we've got local authors, we have authors from around the country and around the world, and so it's just been really a pleasure to learn and grow with them. And
the festival's been around for 21 years now, and bringing the joy of reading to our community. What are some of the vision, what is the essential vision of the festival, the hopes of the goals, the kinds of impact you think you're going to want to make in the community? Obviously, it's been kind of a staple of Fairfax City, Fairfax County for 21 years. Tell me about the festival, how it's grown, how it started, a little bit of the history.
So the festival started in 1999. It was originally a partnership between George Mason University and the City of Fairfax, both of whom were still very, very involved as major sponsors of the festival. I really think our mission is to promote the role of reading and writing in the community, and I think the best way the festival does that is by connecting readers from our area with these authors, both authors that they know and love already, and hopefully authors that they're learning about for the first time when they come to the festival.
Yeah, and book clubs are a big part of that. I know that if you have a book club, you can contact the festival and get your book club signed up to come to see some of the wonderful authors that are visiting throughout the festival. How many authors do you have coming this year?
Nearly 150 authors.
150. Wow.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And speaking as a festival organizer, but also as a professor, part of the mission, I think this is what I love to see with community members is, so when I teach, I usually try to assign a book or encourage my students to go to a festival event. And the best thing is I'm like, oh, bring your book, the author will sign it. And they're just, really? And for so many people, it's the first event that they've gone to meet a real life writer and realize that there's a person behind the words on the page. And I think that's one of the great ways that we encourage this reading and writing in the community, because you can go and hear the story behind the story and listen to them read. I know we'll probably talk about it a little bit later, but kids can get to meet these authors and do some interactive activities and start that joy of reading and writing for many of them, because we even have a poetry workshop for kids this year. Start it young, because it's just a lifelong journey, and we really love to see kids, babies to adults coming in and finding their new favorite writer, or discovering an old favorite writer.
And there's always something for everyone. You have an array of genre that you cover, and it's for young and old. I know that we have at my organization, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at George Mason, our members are 50 plus, and they're big fans of the festival, and we do collaborate on some programming. It's a real gem for all of us who live in this community. And,
Thank you.
And I have to say, I appreciate your hard work. As I, full disclosure, am on the board of directors for the Fall for the Book Festival. And I know how hard it is to compile this. It's a year-long process, and you guys work really hard. So thank you for your efforts, and the fruits of your labor are enjoyed by everyone.
Good, thank you.
So let's start and talk about some of the authors that are coming. We have 4 major headliners that are going to be coming. One of which is Delia Owens, and she wrote
Where the Crawdads Sing.
Where the
Yes,
Crawdads Sing.
yes,
I have
of
her book here.
It's actually the #1 bestseller in 2019. I mean,
really?
Everybody's
It is,
picked
yes.
this up. I was at the airport the other day and saw an 8-year-old girl bringing it on the plane with her. I mean, just anyone and everyone is reading this book, and they've just really loved it. So we're so excited to have her at the festival.
It's a terrific book. I've read it. I read it with my book club, and we're all going to be coming to
Excellent.
the festival.
I'd love to hear that.
Yes. It really has been the big book club hit of the last year, so we're very, very excited that she's going to be at the festival.
Yeah, and I believe that this is one of the highest yielding holds at the library. People are
It is,
waiting to get a
yes,
copy
yes.
at the library as well. Who's sponsoring this particular author?
This event will be sponsored by the Fairfax Library Foundation.
Okay.
So they are very involved with the Fairfax County Public Library as well, and have seen how big this book has gotten over the last year.
That should be a terrific event. And the festival occurs over several days. This year, what are the dates for the festival?
So this year, we're going from October 10th through the 12th, and so that's going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And so 2 of our headliners, Delia Owens and David Grant, are actually going to be on Saturday, October 12th. So that is going to be, we have so much packed into that one day. It's going to be amazing. So I just come for the whole day.
Yes.
We've got food on campus. Just stay and just go to all these great events.
And David Gran is a great nonfiction writer.
Yeah.
And I loved this book, Flowers of the Killer Moon, the Osage Murders and the Birth of the FBI. This book, I read this book, and I read it cover to cover in one sitting because it was just so. I was so engrossed in it. I highly recommend it. I'm very excited to meet the author. And you're right, when you're going to meet the author, you get your book signed, and I tend to do that. But just listening to, what was the process? How much work, how much effort, whether you're talking about nonfiction or a fiction book, to learn about the exploration that the author has to go through in that whole, and you're both writers yourselves. Maybe you could speak to that just a little bit.
Well, and with nonfiction too, with a book like that, it's such an interesting process because it's history, it's true crime, it's looking at the histories of a couple of different groups in the United States, the Osage, as well as the history of the FBI. It's a really, really engaging story, and obviously took a lot of work to research and put together. One of the things we're really excited about too is we've been starting to hear the news about the movie that's going to be coming out of Killers of the Flower Moon that Martin Scorsese's directing and Leonardo DiCaprio will be starring in.
It's amazing.
They've just started production on it, and it's been very exciting to see how this book is going to become a movie as well.
We've had a number of authors with that situation. We have them, and their movie is coming out a little bit later. So it's really incredible to see how things go from the page to, I would say, the stage, but the silver screen or whatever it is. But yeah, I think this is going to be really exciting. David Grant is known for his really in-depth research style, and I'm sure he's going to be talking about that as well. And then, I mean, one thing we haven't talked about yet is all of our events are free and open to the public.
Yes.
And that does not always happen at different reading series or festivals or whatever it is. So that's one of the things we're really proud of, is that you can come and meet these authors for free, and they will sign your book for free. And it's a great experience.
Yeah, and even the parking is free at George Mason University.
For Saturday, absolutely.
For Saturday, yes. That's terrific. 2 other headliners that you have, I'm going to talk about Rainbow Rowell first.
Yeah.
Attachments. She's written a couple of books, and this is her latest. This is kind of
This is one of her older books. Her new book we actually don't have a copy of because it's not out yet, but it will be out in time for the festival.
Oh no, this isn't the book she's going to be. Okay, so what's the latest book that she has?
The latest book is Wayward Son.
Okay.
And Rainbow Rowell's going to be really interesting. The Fairfax County Public Library is sponsoring this event on Friday night of the festival. she has written a huge array of different things. She's written YA, she's written adult novels, she's written graphic novels and comics. So she's done a little bit of everything. This is one of the authors that really is an author for everyone. So I'm really excited about that.
That's great.
And Wayward Son has been billed as what happens after the chosen one has saved the day. So it's going to be a really great pick for fans of Harry Potter. A lot of the critics are talking about basically this is just turning Harry Potter on its head. Really looking at this idea of the chosen one and what happens afterwards.
Yeah, and because she's written in so many different forms, she has quite a following of different audiences. So it'll be interesting to see the turnout for that event.
And she'll be doing sort of a fireside chat because her work spans so many different genres, different age groups, and things like that. So it's going to be very fascinating to hear her talk about it.
Terrific. And then we have, this is the Mason Reads book, All Mason Reads. It's going to be given to all entering freshmen. Can you tell me because I'm not great at pronouncing names, so why don't you go ahead and read her name for me and then tell us about this particular author in the book.
So Chimamanda Adichie has written a number of books. She's a very well-known novelist, but this is actually a book-length essay, We Should All Be Feminists, and this is the book that all of the incoming Mason freshmen have been reading over the summer.
I'll just hold this up for the camera.
Yeah.
They ought to be able to read this book.
I'm sure they can handle it.
It's based on
this is a powerful pamphlet. A powerful book, a book with a lot of information and what is so this started out kind of as a TED Talk,
yes,
correct? Yes. What is the history behind that?
So she had given a TED Talk about the idea of feminism, her own introduction to feminism, and one of the things that she talked about in there was kind of the negativity surrounding the word. The first time she heard it, or someone had called her a feminist, she knew it was a bad thing. It was meant in a bad way. So she kind of explores the true meaning of feminism and the idea, really, of gender equality.
It's not gender specific necessarily.
Exactly. One of the things she talks about in the book is how much freer both men and women would be without gender expectations. So this is, I think, a really great book for the freshmen to be reading coming into college, but I think it's also a wonderful author for the whole community to come out and see as well.
And we're looking forward to the conversation, especially Dr. Ann Holton, the interim president of Mason, is going to be sitting down with Chimamanda as part of the Freedom and Learning Forums, which really tackles tough questions, things that beg to be talked about. So it's going to be quite a dynamic event, and that'll be at the Center for the Arts on Thursday, October 10th.
Yeah, these are great topics too for the following that American Association of University Women tries to empower women with educating folks about even controversial issues, but it's good to get lots of perspectives, and these are some opportunities for folks to broaden their minds. Those are our headliners, and then we have some special awards, at least one award that is being given through the festival. This will be the second year. It's the Institute for Immigration New American Voices Award. Talk to me about the push behind that, how it got started. This is the second year. So tell me about what the hope is with this award.
Yeah. Well, it was a couple years ago that the idea for this award first came up. One of the things we realized is that there was no post-publication award honoring immigrant writers. There are awards for a number of things in the book publishing community, but highlighting immigrant writers was not one of the things that was out there. And we had discussed this with the Institute for Immigration Research, which is based on George Mason's campus, but they do a lot of research on the economic impact of immigrants and really kind of promoting the role of immigration in American society. And they were really interested in the idea of, looking at something a little less tangible, the value of writing that immigrants bring to the literary world. The very first award last year was given to Hernan Diaz, author of In the Distance. And we have the 3 finalists who will be appearing at the festival for this year. And
these are juried by authors that are
immigrants themselves.
Immigrants,
yes,
okay.
Yes. The jury this year was Rainier Grande, Isi Osondo, and Aaliyah Malik. So they were given a pretty hefty stack of several submissions, and these are the 3 finalists. Miracle Creek by Angie Kim was one. The Affairs of the Falcons by Melissa Rivero, and The Kinship of Secrets, Eugenia Kim.
And there's going to be a special event where we're going to meet each of the authors. They're going to read a little of their works.
Yes.
And then the award will be given. It's kind of like the Oscars for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a lot of fun last year, and we're excited that we'll have EC and Raina at the event this year, and they're going to be talking about the importance of a prize like this, talking about each of these writers' works, and then hearing them read and discuss their own work as well. I think it's going to be really great. And what happened this year is that two of the finalists are actually local to the DC metro area. So both Angie Kim and Eugenia Kim are both DC metro locals. Yes. So that was really surprising and pretty cool. Yeah. So we're excited to have them at the festival. And actually, Eugenia, before we found out from the judges that she was going to be a finalist, we had organized for her and another author, Alice Stevens, to do a live stream event with Mason's Korean campus.
Oh, that's exciting.
And this is the first ever event that we've ever done with this. So we're going to be live streaming it. We'll have a class in Korea plus community members, and we'll have community members here as well. And so we're going to try to do like a live Q&A halfway across the world. I mean, 13-hour time difference. We're doing this event. So it's going to be really cool, and we should hopefully have a link so if you aren't able to make it to campus for the event, you can watch it from home and participate that way. So we're breaking new ground in all kinds of ways, and it's so much fun.
You certainly are. This festival is taking it worldwide.
Yeah.
So I know that you are going to be bringing in some special science. There's also a special science lecture, the Beck lecture. Tell me who the Becks are. Tell me about how that came to be, and who is your featured author this year for the Beck's lecture.
So the Beck lecture is sponsored by a local couple, Robert and Lucy Beck, who are just very interested in sustainability and environmental and climate change issues, and saw an opportunity to kind of highlight those issues at an event like Fall for the Book. So our author this year is David Wallace Wells. He's a journalist, and he's the author of The Uninhabitable Earth, Life After Warming. And that's going to be a really interesting talk. He kind of rose to prominence after an article was published that he eventually expanded into this book, The Uninhabitable Earth, that's looking at not only what climate change is going to mean in the next few years, but really kind of looking out into the future and seeing what will happen if nothing is done. It's sort of a frightening look at it, but he also lays out some solutions, which is very, very nice to see.
That's good. That's very good. It's good the festival doesn't shy away from controversial issues, and you handle it in such an academic way, which is I think is a great way to help the community to understand some of these topics and get the kind of feedback that they need to make informed decisions about these kinds of things. So there is a big celebration for the Apollo 11 50th anniversary, and you are bringing in an author to commemorate that.
Yeah, so anybody who went down to the mall to see the launching of the rocket and everything, I mean, if you're a fan of that, I think we've got a great opportunity for you the morning, Saturday, October 12th. James Donovan, he wrote the book Shoot for the Moon, The Space Race and the Extraordinary Voyage of Apollo 11. And basically what the book is doing is taking you through this entire mission, and you get this fantastic behind the scenes view of this and what happened and what were the things they had to deal with, the challenges they had to deal with as they were going to do this landmark event. So I know we'll have a bunch of audience members who watched it on TV, and then audience members who are being introduced to it relatively newly. So we're really excited to that.
And that's not the only space book that you have on the docket for the festival. There's Zach Powers' book, The Space Odyssey, or was the space, what's the title of his book?
First Cosmic Philosophy.
Oh, okay, yes. I got it completely wrong. don't Google that one.
But we also have one of the books right on the front, Erica Swiler. So yeah, we have two space events back to back. So Erica Swiler is going to be paired up with Zach Powers. Now, Erica and Zach, they're both novels, and they're both taking kind of like a surreal twist on the space race. So Zach is taking something that sort of happened with the Soviet Union and is definitely speculating a little bit with that, and then Light from Other Stars, it's a father-daughter trying to get into space to save the daughter and certain things like that. So it's kind of an interesting back-to-back, like all the culture that's been inspired by this just one momentous occasion.
You know, and Zach is he a Mason alum, or is it affiliated with
He's
Mason?
local.
He's a local author. He lives in Fairfax.
Okay,
Yes,
very
yeah.
good. And we have a couple of other local authors, Tara.
Tara Campbell is
Campbell,
one, Rian Amilcar Scott, and Randa Noble Billings. I mean, really, we could list a huge number of names. So this is something we're really proud of, is we really support local writers as well as we said, the national writers. We support writers at all different stages of their career. So we get a lot of people with their debut novel or essay collection or poetry collection. And then we have people who are well established and you've been reading their books for 20 years. So it's a great opportunity.
And one of the fun things that you do, and this unfortunately an event I missed last year, but because I had to go do another event at the same time, but the literary death match at the end of the festival.
Yes.
If you come for nothing else, come for this, because I heard it was absolutely outstanding. Tell us about what that is.
Yeah, it's our closing event this year. It's at 8 o'clock, so it's our after party event, as we're calling it, in Harris Theater on Saturday. And basically, it is a fun, fast-paced literary game show. And last year was the first year we did it. The winner was decided, and now we've got 3 judges. Some are literary, some are community, and then we have 4 authors, and they compete through reading their own materials, and then the judges give them critique. It's like, they like to say it's like American Idol, but with a little less snark. And you know, there is a winner, and the winner last year was decided by a math question. So that's always
Anything
good.
can happen.
Yeah, 4 writers on stage with a math question. What are you going to do? But it's a ton of fun.
And you're going to have some featured political speakers as well. I think Terry McAuliffe's going to come and introduce. And you have a local delegate who has written a book with her daughter-in-law.
Yes, Governor Terry McAuliffe, former governor of Virginia, has a new book out called Beyond Charlottesville, Taking a Stand Against White Nationalism. He was in office when the Unite the Right rally happened in August of 2017, the white nationalist rally that turned violent in Charlottesville.
Sure.
So he's kind of looking back on the event from his perspective as a governor, what went wrong, what could have been done differently, and really how you go forward from something like that.
And on a different side of things, I'm really excited about one of our guests, Nana Rawlings. She is the former First Lady of Ghana, and she's going to be coming to the festival and talking about her road, what it's like being a woman and running for office. She was the first lady of Ghana, but she also was the first woman to run for president. So she's got a lot of really fascinating experiences. So she's going to come and kind of talk about her road through politics, how she's moving towards the office and her experiences. And then, of course, you mentioned Senator Howell. So she's coming, Senator Janet Howell, she's coming with her daughter-in-law, Teresa, and they wrote a kid's book, Leading the Way, Women in Power. And they're going to be down at Old Town Hall on Saturday, October 12th.
And you have a lot of kids events on Saturday as well at the Old Town Hall.
Yes, a lot of very interactive kids events to really kind of get kids not only involved with hearing the books and being introduced to these authors, but to get them involved in doing some of their own projects.
Wonderful.
It's a lot of fun.
I know that at Ollie where I work, history is a huge thing. It's one of the favorite kind of academic areas that people like to take classes on history. And you have a huge array of history opportunities for people to enjoy local history, in national history, and international history. Why don't you feature a couple of those while we are discussing that?
Yeah. So for local history, I'd say. Especially if you came out to see Colson Whitehead a couple of years ago at the festival, talking about the Underground Railroad. We have 2 local historians, Jenny Mazur and Charma Cargo Ba, and they're talking about the DC area's history with slavery and freedom seekers. So Char's book is looking at the Alexandria Freedmen Cemetery, and then Jenny's book is kind of looking at the Underground Railroad, and there are just so many, of those locations in this area, so it's really fascinating local history. And then for more of a global history, we're really excited for Peter Finn and Michael Dobbs. They're talking about very unknown or lesser known stories from World War II. that are going to be great for anybody who's interested in that period.
That'll definitely be well attended.
Yes.
We only have a few minutes left, so I don't want to miss out on talking about the partnerships that you have with the City of Fairfax and George Mason University. We talked already about some of the events at Old Town Hall, but there is a shuttle that is going to be able to take you downtown during the festival day, or so it's while the town is having a festival, it's also a day of the regular Fall for the Book Festival.
Yeah, our very last day, Saturday, October 12th, we have a partnership with the City of Fairfax Fall Festival. So there's activities going on campus as well as downtown in the City of Fairfax, specifically in Old Town Hall is where we'll have all of our children's events that day. It's really great because you can take the Q bus back and forth between campus and the city and make sure you're getting to do a little bit of everything.
And you get to park for free and Rappahannock parking deck.
And I hear there's food. So what's this about the food?
Oh yes, Brian Noyes.
For books, food.
Books and food together.
How can you go wrong?
Yeah, Brian Noyes of the Red Truck Bakery is coming in. He's sharing his cookbook with a lot of, I think he's got 81 recipes, and he's bringing samples, so come hungry.
Yes.
We've tried his lemon drizzle cake, and oh my gosh,
wonderful,
it's
yes.
amazing. So I can't wait for the samples.
Yeah.
And the University Library is doing an edible book festival.
Yes.
Oh, what is
Yes, yes. So they're doing a kind of competition where people can enter book-related food items, essentially. So they'll have cakes, cupcakes, all kinds of different baked goods. I'm really excited to see what the contestants come up with.
So they can like design a cake after the cover of a book.
Yes.
Or,
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And they're judged, there are prizes, and again, bring your appetite because later in the day you can eat the entries. So
That sounds like a ton of fun. I love that idea. So how is our audience going to be able to learn about all the authors that are coming, the schedule, to learn about how to even volunteer, those kinds of things? How do we learn about that?
So everything's at our website. It's fallforthebook.org, and we have not only the full schedule posted up there, but opportunities for volunteers. We are a very small team, so we do rely on volunteers a lot during the festival, and there's a lot of really wonderful opportunities to introduce authors, help us run events, or be at the info table, and it's a great opportunity to just get a little bit more involved with what we're doing and meet some of those authors that you're excited about.
And we also have a free app that you can download from the App Store or Google Play. And also find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search at Fall for the Book and you'll find us.
That's great. And there will be posters and copies of the program at local libraries, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you. This was great. I think we covered a lot of ground here.
But there's so much more. This is a very small sampling.
So yeah, 150 authors. You know, it's hard to cover it all, but I think that we've given a little sampling and whetting people's appetite and
Yes.
just to lure them in with books and food and good friends and a good community event. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Kara and Susie, for coming on the program every year and doing this. We always like to learn about the festival and visit with you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for watching On the Go with AAUW.